Hey everybody, how's it going? So today we're going to go over some of the tools that you're going to need if you want to repair, customize, or restore a drum. This drum right here is from 1978, which just happens to be my birth year. When I got it, it was in absolutely terrible shape. It was painted burgundy, and it was just so bad that it was like, hey man, I'm going to strip it down, I'm going to take it back down to bare metal, polish it, and then, bring it back to stock. But it was just so completely wrecked that I just had to repaint it. It took a lot of sanding. I started pretty coarse. I started with 180 grit sandpaper, which a lot of people are gonna be like, shocked because I was sanding that on metal. But there was just so much cancer of the metal where, you could barely touch the shell and I get stabbed by the shards of chrome that were peeling off. It was in really, really, really bad shape. So today I'm gonna go over some of the tools that I use when I restore, and then I'll tell you what I used on this one right here. First off, let's talk about screwdrivers. If you're dealing with shells that are in the 60s and above, okay, you're gonna be using this little hex head. Okay, let me bring that up close so you guys can see it. I bought this in a set of 3 from Milwaukee. It's a 1/4-inch hex head. It works amazingly well. I put it on my little cheesy Ryobi screw gun, or sometimes I'll even use it on my drill. These are great for removing, not for putting back on, guys. Please remember that when you're reinstalling them, this is what I use. It's called a hex nut driver. Okay, well, it's a 1/4-inch as well. And this allows me to thread them in because these lugs, they tend to be really, really delicate. And it sucks when you break one, because if you break one, you're going to be out 10 to 12 bucks if you have to order it through, one of the websites online. So once again, be smart about it and make sure that you're using a hex nut driver. This is from Craftsman. It's an older one, 1/4-inch drive. There you go, little zoom in right there. The cool thing is that this right there tells you the size. So it says 1/4-inch, and after a while you'll know that that burgundy one is your 1/4-inch. And then it just so happens that Milwaukee, on their 1/4-inch, they do it the same color or close to the same color. So there you go. That's what I use there. When you're using screwdrivers on anything that's early 60s and older, okay, it's gonna be a flathead. But not all flatheads are created equal. Make sure you guys grab the correct size, okay? It should be a snug, tight fit. There shouldn't be any movement in the slot of the screw head, all right? It should be a nice, tight fit. And this is the one, it's 1/4-inch size as well, is the one that fits the best that I've used for screwdrivers, for removing lugs, okay? For removing anything like these over here, like these smaller screws, right? Like on the butt plate, I use this one, which is a Craftsman 316s. Okay, Craftsman 316s, an older one made in the USA. Once again, they're screwdrivers that when you slide them into the notch, they fit snug, they fit proper, and they're not gonna mess with the head shape because it's the proper size. So I can't tell you guys enough to make sure you use the correct size screwdrivers. If you're gonna do any type of work on these vintage drums, it's well worth the investment. And guess what, man? They're not that costly. One tool that I think most of us have, once again, that I do use on both my screw gun and my drill, is one of these right here, right? Dude, let me tell you, man, it makes life so much easier. Get yourself one of these. Life will be so much better. It slides into the chuck, and then you can use it. But once again, to loosen. If you're gonna use these to tighten, like I do, just make sure you know what you're doing. You don't want to go all the way to where it's tight, because these will mess up your tension rods and your lugs, especially if you're using a drill. If you're using a drill, all right, most of them have these numbers up here. Make sure it's set to 1. That way it won't over torque and just tear everything inside your lug, okay? If you're doing drum repair now, okay, let's say, let's say your bearing edges are screwed, or one of the holes isn't large enough, you can buy one of these really inexpensive rat tail files. And this is great because then you can just slide it into the hole and just ream it out. Once again, these are super inexpensive. I got this in that Harbor Freight. If I'm working on a bearing edge, then I'll use this. This is a flat file as well. I've had this thing for about 20 years. Obviously, if you're working on a bearing edge, you want to be super careful and super delicate. And then once you're done using that file, obviously sandpaper is your best friend. I don't really throw away sandpaper unless it's really like just wrecked, especially since most of it is wet and dry. You can reuse it. All you got to do is just clean it off and you keep reusing it. Okay? Pretty simple. I found one of these cool little pliers online, and these are non-marring pliers. These are great when you're having to like hold on to something while torquing it down or trying to loosen it, and it keeps you from marring them. Plain and simple. They come with extra jaws. I think I got it for like $7 or $8. It's made in Japan, and it works great. It's something that I use seldomly, but when I do need it, it works amazing, and it keeps from destroying my parts, which is obviously what we all want in the end, right? Obviously, we all got to have a utility knife. I have a couple different sizes of these. These, man, you can find them everywhere and anywhere. If you're gonna do a wrap, this is absolutely incredible. This I got for under $10 on Amazon. Once you put the wrap on the drum, you put the roller over it, and you use this to get any of the air bubbles and to ensure that the wrap is firmly down on the drum shell. Once again, less than $10, but this is a baller tool, man. For gluing any wrap down, I will use a 3M fast bond. Okay, that's for like the large jobs of gluing stuff down when it's like a full wrap. This stuff is incredible, man. My recommendation for this, pour it into like a small little container and then buy those little cheesy sponge brushes, and then you can just sponge it on with that, or the really cheap brushes will do as well. And you got to remember, guys, you have to put glue on the shell and you put it on the wrap. Once they're dry to the point where they're tacky, you put them on, but you only get one shot, man. That's the thing with these drums, right? You only get one shot. So you got to make sure you measure. I think everybody knows about Evaporust now. This stuff is incredible. I can't tell you how much money and time this saves. I soak my stuff in there. I usually soak it overnight, or, you know, depending on how bad it is. When it's done, it's incredible. Like, all this stuff got ran through Evaporust. It does come out a little sticky, but to solve that issue, once again, Dollar Tree is my best friend. I went to Dollar Tree and I got a spray bottle and I put soapy water in there. And so when everything comes out of the Evaporust, I just hit it with a little bit of soapy water and then I dry it and we're good. Okay? So this is something that's indispensable, and I'll tell you why. If you're gonna remove wrap on a drum, this is what I recommend, okay? It's the citrus strip. When you're doing this, okay, guys, let me give you specific instructions. I remove all my hardware, and then I go one panel at a time. I call these panels in between the lugs, okay? So I go one panel at a time. I coat it with the citrus strip. Once it starts bubbling, I take my spatula and I just run it, okay? And then that removes it. Once it's been removed, I spray water over this. That way it neutralizes, especially for wood. On metal, it won't really harm much. But if you're doing it over wood, you got to make sure you spray it so you can neutralize the chemical. Wipe it down, and then I work my way all the way around the drum, one panel at a time. Once all that's said and done, you're always going to have a little bit of paint left over on there. What I do is I use lacquer thinner. Boom. Just go get yourself some lacquer thinner, and then I put it on the towel, and then I just run it all the way around, and it works fantastic. It cleans it and removes all the excess paint. If you're gonna be gluing small parts, like little edges of wrap, I recommend using super glue and then a little bit of tape. Make sure you tape the edges of where you don't want any of that glue seepage. You know, once it dries, you remove the tape. And if you have any glue seepage, then you can use your blade to remove it. Now, for doing any type of repairs, like if you have to do any type of, you know, like plug a hole, I recommend using the Gorilla Wood Glue. Or Type Bond works amazingly well. I buy these dowels. I have a bunch of different sizes. And then what I do is I measure how much I need. I cut it to size. I sand it. And then I put a lot of glue on the dowel and where the hole is, and I slide it in. Done. It's taken care of. And then the following day, I use a little bit of wood putty. After I've repaired the hole, I add some DAP plaster wood. This stuff is incredible. You put a little bit on, man. Smooth, like skim coat the thing on there. Remove the excess with a towel or with your gloved hand. And then you come back the next day, or actually with it, if it's a nice sunny day, within about 30 minutes, you can sand it. For example, if I am repairing the rim strip, I use this right here, the 3M Super 77. This stuff works great. You know, once again, I spray it on whatever I'm gonna glue down, and on the surface I'm gonna glue too. And it works amazingly well. The last thing I wanna show you guys are measuring tape, which I'm sure we all have. I use this, my little straight edge, whenever I'm having to drill holes and I have to line stuff up. It works amazingly well. And then this Taylor's measuring tape, because obviously it can contour to whatever shape you need. Thanks a lot. Please like and subscribe. That would be a great help. You guys have a great day. All right, guys. Thank you very much for watching. I would just appreciate it if you liked, subscribed, and share this video with other people that you might think would enjoy it. If you guys would like, I can do a little video on this drum. Thank you very much and have a great one.